I love the fact that you and your brother were up for the same role. Do you have this tendency to like compete with them all the time nowadays, or is it
we haven't spoken since. It's been a very tough fight. No, we're competitive in the best of ways with everything else. This particular business ends up being a bit of a team effort. You're both aware of the odds are against you and it all, so you support each other.
It's an amazing period for both of you because everybody's getting, there's buzz and so how has this year been in terms of being a working actor, trying to audition and stuff, and all of a sudden people know your first name and your last name,
it's crazy, it's sort of it's a dream in the sense that I'm now sort of working, and there's been periods when I have had long periods of not working, and you're about to sort of pack it in and think, what am I doing, and then all of a sudden it's sort of, when it rains it pours, and it hasn't stopped for the last year and a half now, and so I'm very thankful for that to be happening, and as is Liam, the same thing.
To work with Kenneth, what was kind of your initial meeting with him like? And he just seems like such a great guy, but also really he understands the acting and So what kind of notes were you getting from him on a daily basis?
He's, as you say, he's an actor's director and knows what to say and what not to say, and is incredibly educated with this character and obviously storytelling and the Shakespearean world, which there's an element in this. He's all about exploring things, and not being sort of locked into one particular idea, really being open to send the character in this direction, and then we've got that, let's send it here. And through that, you're not walking the tightrope of it all, and there's more to discover, and I think the character is more vivid and interesting because of it.
You have a really good, lucky job in the sense that you got to play this almost Shakespearean kind of sequences in Asgard, but then you get to go on Earth and do this other kind of film. And so what was that experience like for you, and what are the differences when you were kind of shooting?
It really felt like two different films, It was Asgard and full costume and everyone else was, and you're on these incredibly beautiful, vivid sets in this other world, and then all of a sudden you're in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and jeans and a t-shirt, and there's Americans around you, and it's like this sort of fish out of water element, which works for the character. That's how he was meant to feel, and that's how I felt. And it was nice to sort of combine those two worlds. I think it makes for an interesting story. You sort of get a taste of one, then you're back in Asgard, and then back and forth. So it's a fun ride in that sense.
Working with Natalie, what was that like? And
it's great. Yeah.
I talked to you guys actually at Comic-Con, and she's like, he's tall. That was like the only comment.
That's it?
Yes.
Well, she's small. But she's wonderful. She is one of my favorite actresses, and incredibly supportive and fun, has a great sense of humor, and just so much integrity in this character and her approach to it. She wasn't happy with just being the sort of sweet sort of girl. She wanted to have some real motivation and a real journey, and she did. I think that character's so interesting because of everything she fought to put in there.
I feel like you have a really tough job in the sense that when people see you on screen, they really are just looking at this physical presence. And so how do you kind of break through that? I mean, how did you feel that you maybe were able to kind of show acting, and like kind of do things that were kind of...
Look, I don't think that of myself, you know what I mean? Like, I don't walk on thinking, oh, that's my challenge. I just walk in thinking, okay, this is another character I have to portray and have to make it truthful, and what's my objective, and you sort of simplify it all. There's all sorts of, whether, if someone says that to me, or whether there's the concern of the history of the 40 or 50 years of comic books and the fans, and what if they're upset that they don't like the way you've portrayed it. It's like, you want to hit those notes and please people, but you have to take the wheel and do your thing as well. You can't sort of live by everyone else's opinions.
Do you find it interesting that this journey of Thor is not over yet? You're actually shooting the Avengers right now. Has it been kind of... Did you have any break in between? Or is it like
I did. No, I started shooting Avengers in about a month. It's just directly after the Thor press tour. And I have had, since we shot Thor, which was 11 months ago, I've had that period. So I've had enough time to sort of sit around. I enjoy being busy, and I'm sort of glad to be back on the train with it.
Is it weird for you to kind of, I'm sure your body has to change to kind of fit the Thor. So being a normal person, and then boom, you're back onto the eating chicken during breaks and stuff like that.
It was an exhausting part of the whole thing, was the eating and the training. And then since I finished shooting the film, I kept training so I could keep my strength, but I just didn't eat nearly as much, just so I could not be so full. And then I've just started sort of upping the calories and putting the weight back on. So if I'd stopped training completely, it would have been a much more difficult path. But there's, muscle memory and routine, all sorts of things.
Things I know nothing about, so I just look forward. Okay, so we asked our fans a question, and so they have one question for you. It's Nguyen from Vietnam, and he wants to know: did you meet Stan Lee?
I did meet Stan Lee.
And what was that experience like?
Oh my God, that guy is just awesome. He loves storytelling and fantasy in that world, and he's incredibly friendly and fun, and he's great. He's a great sort of, obviously, the best resource you could have around, and he was around that we could ask questions about the character. Yeah.
And his cameo is awesome in the film, so.
It is awesome, isn't it? His cameo, I think, is his best so far.